Hey guys, in today's video, I'm interviewing my friend Henry Keenan. Henry is the founder of Red Atlas. Red Atlas is solving all kinds of problems for the island of Puerto Rico, especially around data. And as real estate investors, we have thought for a long time that data is just impossible on the island of Puerto Rico. But now, because of what Red Atlas has built and what Henry is doing, they are solving the problem. So I've got such an exciting announcement, and we're going to say it in the video, but I'm too excited. I'm just going to tell you now. We've partnered with Red Atlas, and inside of our Apex group, that's our premium community, you get access to their service for 4 months. This is a $200 value. It's worth the price of admission. All you need to do is comment yes, and I'll send you the link to join our group, Apex, and you'll get the Red Atlas for free. Now, watch the video. Don't go anywhere. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Robbie Krager, the Flip Flop Flipper, and that guy right there, that's Henry Keenan. He's with Red Atlas. We've done this a couple times now, Henry, but this one is super exciting, actually, because we're announcing something that you and I have been going back and forth working on now for, I would think, 6 months at least, right?
Yeah, you were playing hard to get for a while there, and so I'm glad we're able to finally get this.
Yeah, we had a few iterations of this partnership that we've finally put together. I would think it's safe to say that this is a six-figure deal that we've kind of come to an agreement on. Would you agree?
Yeah, this is by far our largest endorsement partnership sponsorship deal of any kind, by a long shot. So
Well, and just
yeah,
for those people who don't maybe know you, why don't you introduce yourself and give the brief history again of Red Atlas and how long you've been going at it and that kind of stuff.
sure. So I've been in Puerto Rico for almost 7 years now, and my family's been there, since 2012 or so. So kind of starting to get some deeper roots into the island here. Um, And so basically, I originally came to Puerto Rico as an analyst with JLL, and had a lot of trouble finding information for clients, and so figured out there was a way that we could actually build a platform. So I ended up leaving JLL after a couple of years to start this company, Red Atlas. And so what we do is we just collect all the public registry permit data on the island. We then layer in on top of that every listing we can find that's publicly available. And then we just create a giant history of all that information, track it, and we do a lot to clean it up. And this AI revolution has been amazing for our business because it enables us to go from I think we were at 60 or 70% clean data uh, before 2022 to now all of a sudden, we're at 93, 94, and we have some stuff coming down the pipeline soon that's going to bring us up to 99. Specifically, we've read every deed on the island, pulled
Huh.
out the information from that. And then we're also using, we're testing right now image recognition to see are the amenities or are the appliances in a listing in the kitchen like high end or not high end. So like that level of detail.
So, guys, what Henry's explaining is Red Atlas is solving multiple problems at the same time. And if you follow myself or anyone else who's been here trying to buy real estate, we constantly kind of complain, if you will, that the data on the island of Puerto Rico is just nearly impossible to find. And then, lo and behold, Henry pops up, starts this amazing business, Red Atlas, and they started solving that problem. But then along the same time that you're solving the data information problem, you're also solving problems like how do people sell a property because there's not a great system for that on the island of Puerto Rico either. So now you kind of can become the MLS and the place to go to find sellers and find information on sold comps and all of it. Is that accurate,
Yeah.
Henry?
An MLS that doesn't fine you, I guess, is number one.
Yeah.
And no, we're just in it. We want to be the Bloomberg of real estate information rather than financial services information. So that's the big picture of the company. But then obviously, we want to have a tier that's Bloomberg. It's $2,000 a month. It's a certain type of person. We're building that tier, and I think we'll have a lot more to announce there some point soon. But really, what we're focused on for now is the more casual users who $100 a month budget, who just want the best information they can get. And so that's what we built so far. And actually, Robert, just one quick backstory there. We actually found you using the data. So we were looking for interesting projects on Ponce de Leon via the journalist. Isa, if you remember her, I think she reached out to you originally. She was looking for interesting projects on Ponce de Leon to report about. And then she found your project in the permits using Red Atlas
Oh
and
yeah,
reached out to you. And that's how we got in touch originally. So,
the big
it
hotel
was through the
project,
data.
right?
Yep.
I remember
Yep.
that. That's very cool. And so what else? We've now got a partnership. I think our community that we've built, Henry, is a community of like-minded real estate investors and entrepreneurs who are desperate to have the data for things on the island of Puerto Rico, whether they're looking at an abandoned house and trying to find who actually owns it. You know, even if there's one heir out of the 25 that may own it, can they get a hold of that person? And you certainly are helping to solve that problem. And then what I've used Red Atlas for with the Don quite often is just simple sold comps. We're looking at properties to go to a foreclosure sale, and we want to know what is something in the neighborhood that's similar when it's fixed up going to sell for. So we just stick it in Red Atlas, and you guys have done a really good job in a very short period of time of solving this problem for the island. So I I kind of think that it's a really good match. Like our community of real estate investors, at least in some portions of what you've built, we're your perfect avatar.
Yeah, you guys are. And, well, I think the reason why is because investors benefit the most from transparency
Yeah.
compared to some other groups even. So we're really excited to work with you guys. Should we jump into what the deal actually is and what?
Yeah, let's talk about it. I'll let you go with it. Run with it.
All right. So super excited. Basically, we've reached an agreement with Robert where Apex community members are going to. I think there's 220 of them now, right?
We have a little less than
It's a
that,
big.
so it's a little over
So
200, but yeah, it goes
okay,
up and down every day.
it's going to be 500 soon. But anyway, so
Yeah.
we're knock on wood. So basically, we're giving every Apex community member 4 months of Red Atlas included in their Apex community subscription. So if you sign up for Apex as part of your welcome package, or you'll get a unique code that will give you 4 months of Red Atlas for free. And then that way, when you're joining the community, a part of it, you can use Red Atlas as much or as little as you like for no charge. So I think that this is an over six-figure deal for us in terms of the value that we're providing.
I mean, and it's something that we've been kind of teasing our community with because we certainly have always pointed to you guys as the place to go to get the best data on the island. And we have been talking, you and I, back and forth for at least 6 months trying to put this together. So I'm glad that we've finally came with a way that it works for both sides. And I'm excited to see our community start to use Red Atlas. I mean, it's going to be a game changer for them. And then, if it's okay, I'll just kind of tease people a little bit here, Henry. That
Sure.
what we're thinking is that 10 people out of our group can be part of your next beta test for the next sort of idea that you're going to launch in the near future, hopefully. So that means, guys, if you're in our community and you're using Red Atlas, you want to be using it a lot so that you can be part of this beta, because the beta is going to be pretty cool. And Henry, I'll leave it to you to
Yep.
explain as much or as little about what the next beta will look like.
We can't say too much at this point, but let's just say you won't need to know how to use the platform or how to use any platform or really know any real estate terms to be able to use it. You'll just be able to, talk and say what you want, and it will deliver what you want.
Yeah.
So that's and I think what we'll do a video in a few weeks or a month with a full kind of launch of that, or at least a launch of the beta of that. So I'm very excited about that. The initial results we've seen. I'll give you one example. We asked a developer had a question for us, and it wasn't like he was willing to pay $10,000 for a report. And we said, well, let's just, and it's just one question. He's like, I understand, if you guys have your consulting business. We're like, we don't want to have a consulting business. That's a waste of time for everyone. So how about this? We have this new tool that we're testing. Why don't we just plug in your question to the tool and see if it works? And so he wanted to know, like, what's the price of a developable acre of land in a certain municipality? And we plugged it in to the model, and when he got it back, he's like, holy crap, that's exactly what I was thinking, and that's really helpful because now I can go plug that into my model when I'm doing acquisitions. So That was very interesting and promising. He asked if he could start paying for it that same day. We're not quite there yet.
You know
But
you've got a good product if they're willing to pay for it before it's ready.
yeah. But we're trying to get it out in the next few weeks.
Yeah,
So stay tuned.
that's awesome. Stay tuned for that, guys, and you'll be seeing more of Henry actually. And Henry, I believe we're going to have someone from your group as a part of our community now, as we're handing out these codes to have people start using Red Atlas. Um,
Yep.
what's his name again? And have we given you that
Uh,
code yet?
so we haven't gotten it yet. His name's Daniel Lopez. He's our head of sales in Puerto Rico, and so he'll be available in the community to answer kind of any bigger or deeper questions about Red Atlas as you guys go. And then another important thing I think we forgot is that Robert, you now have permission from us to use Red Atlas in any video you'd like to show the platform as much or as little as you'd like. So that's another component I think we forgot.
Yeah, I think we'll start using it like on our Tuesday night Shark Tank, where we're going live and we're doing deal analysis. We'll start plugging it into the Red Atlas, and it's just amazing how quickly the data comes back, and then we can have sold comps, or we can have what's on the market in the same neighborhood. I think, does Red Atlas also help to determine what we should estimate for repairs, or is that something that's going to be in the next phase?
Um, that'll be in the next phase. And so basically what we have in terms of information is we have permits that say what the repairs estimate costs are. And obviously, they estimate low generally. But in the next version of the platform, there will be something that you will be able to do to estimate repairs. And that's all I can say. I don't want to give away too much.
What you currently have out there, can you just walk us through real quick what's like a typical use case on how an investor would use Red Atlas to find and analyze a deal?
Sure. Do you want me to share my screen again real quick?
Yeah, that'd be
That'd
great.
be
I think
all right. Let
everybody
me
likes that. Take us through a
let me
typical
just
use case for a real estate investor who's going to use
yep.
Red Atlas and try and find the data to maybe determine what the
Okay.
best asking price or what the best offer should be on
Sure.
a property.
So let's say you're looking at houses that are for sale, and let's say you're like an Airbnb investor in Aguadilla, just making something up. And so let's say you want to, and then so basically you find all these properties that you like, and let's say, okay, I actually only want them on the coast. So I'll go ahead and I'll draw a polygon here, and I'll just kind of follow the coast up. And we say, okay, this is where we want, to have our investment property because we don't care about anything inland. We're not,
Yep.
that's not our target. So now here's everything that's on the coast that's available as single family. And let's say, okay, our budget is, we're not $350,000, just an example. Um, we have these indicators now, which we walked through last time, which will tell us based on our estimate if we think this is a good deal or not. And so in this case, this time they're asking 275,000. We think the market value is 163,000. And that's based on the entire data set that we have.
Yep.
And so obviously sometimes, it's really up to you. It's not financial advice. This could actually be a good deal, but what you can do is you can go to this valuation report tool, and then you can say, okay, did we get the location right when we ran the assessment? So you can just double check that first. So you can change the pin to somewhere else if you'd like, and then you can double check all the information that went into it. And so maybe the square footage was input wrong by the broker, or let's say our extraction process, it's at 97%, but sometimes it makes mistakes. And so let's say you're like, okay, I know it's 1,200 square feet, not 1,000 square feet. And actually, no, I think the quality is average, not below average. This is the appraiser, subjective score, and you can say, okay, so average is dwellings with a quality, et cetera. So the workmanship exceeds acceptable standards and materials and finished throughout the. Okay, so we're going to say, okay, actually, I think it's a Q3. And then you can also update the condition. It's like, okay, it's an average condition as well. then you can generate a report. And so what it'll do is rather than taking the default value that we had estimated based on our analysis of the images and of the property itself, you can then go rerun that analysis using the exact same model that originally priced it. Um, and it takes about 30 seconds to run normally. Commercial properties will take more like a minute. We just had a big update there where those are a bit more accurate now. And we're and especially at cap rates, those are much more accurate now.
Okay.
Um, and I'll let this run for a second.
While I'm watching
And you
this,
can,
and I'm just thinking
yep,
as I'm looking at this, the way that I would want to use it. So now it's come back and it says
mhm.
that this
Yeah,
house
it's coming back
should be worth 275, right?
100.
Oh,
No, no. So
157.
now it's like 157. Yeah.
Asking price is 275. Got it.
Yep.
And
Exactly.
so what I'm looking at here is why would this be so important for me as a real estate investor is because, and we say this often when we're talking about how to determine what to offer. The asking price is really irrelevant for someone like me that wants to buy something that they can then turn around and make money on. I want to know what is the house worth. You did it as an average house. I might go in and do it as like the best house in the neighborhood and try to come to
Yep.
what is the like best case after repaired value. And then I'd
Hmm.
start my calculations from that point, knowing that as a value add real estate investor, I'm going to go in and renovate the house and make it the prettiest house in the neighborhood. So then I should be able to ask top dollar. And that would be super helpful. In this case, if I did think the house was only worth 157, I completely
Hmm.
don't care that they're asking 275. I'm never going to offer anything close to what they're asking, and I have to
Right.
actually offer a percentage of the new number, the 157. So I would look at this and go, well, it's
Hmm.
very unlikely that I'm going to be able to buy this house, and I could just move on. I could go through the
Yep.
headache of beating my head against the wall and trying to make a super offensive lowball offer, but my likelihood of success is pretty low. So I would just move on to the next one. But that, Henry, is super helpful for a guy like me because I want to get to what can I buy as fast as I can, right? Like I don't
Right.
really want to waste time on something where somebody's asking more than it's going to be worth after a renovation. They're just
Hmm.
unrealistic. They're not motivated enough for me to be buying that property. So I would just
Right.
say, okay, move on. And then I would go on to the next house on the list and do the
Which
same
I'd say
thing.
most of those are in Condado, by the way. Um, a
Yeah.
lot of the the unrealistic asking prices, but well, so
Yeah.
maybe
Dorado and
let's try. Yep.
Condado and even Palmas Del Mar, they're very, very proud. Rincon, to a certain level,
Mhm.
has gotten excessively
Yep.
expensive and kind of unrealistic. Um,
Well, so maybe let's try your use case for a second then. So if you go into our advanced filters, you can go down to the condition filter here,
yeah.
and C5 is significant deferred maintenance. So let's just see what comes up, and I would check C5, C6, C4 just to kind of see. And so let's say you want to take this one and you want to make it the nicest house in the neighborhood
Yes.
on the corner and turn it into an Airbnb.
Yes.
What you can then do, it looks like this location is little tricky. So if you want, you can actually like go and look and try to see like, okay, where is it exactly? Go to the original source down here. So we'll go into if I click out, it's going to take me a while. So it's 289, the asking.
Okay.
And so what you can do is just try to when we go to value it, we'll assume it's there. Um, maybe it's back over here, I think. It's good enough. We'll keep it where the broker pin says it is. Um, so it was asking 289. And what we can do is we can say, okay, let's make it, above average. So let's make it a Q2.
Yeah.
Actually, it's a Q3 just because of location probably. And then we can say, okay, let's make it a condition two though. Like let's make it incredible.
Yeah. Make it
Um,
make it really, really nice.
yep. And so but you're repositioning it. You can even change the sector. You can even run it like let's turn this into an office. Let's turn this into a retail store. But you can change it uh, from those various items, and then it'll run a report and say how much it thinks it's going to be worth if you actually do that. So let's just see what it
And
says.
hopefully it's going to say that it's going to be worth a lot more than the asking price of 289. And
Hmm.
then we'd have something that we could start to make an offer on. And we could
Yep.
walk through that really fast if it does. All right, so
So now
it
it says
says fixed up.
307.
It's going to be 307. So we're not going to
Yep.
pay 289, guys, right?
Yep.
We're gonna take the 307 price and say that that's the after repaired value. And for the most common use case in our community, it's going to be housing. It's as Henry said, maybe this is an Airbnb. It looks like it could be multiple units. I'm not sure, but we'd take the 307 or 310, we multiply it by 70%, and then we would subtract out what we estimate the repairs to be, and that would be our max allowable offer or the most we would want to pay. So we'd start kind of a little bit below that even. So if you guys are watching this and you were wondering what someone like myself looks at when I'm looking at a building like this, and by the way, I think I've seen this building before, Henry.
I'm sure you see most of these, but yeah.
I see a lot. I do. Um,
Well,
so
so real quick, something interesting here. So you notice how we weren't sure about the pin from this particular listing from these set of brokers originally.
yes,
When I went down to the comps, it looks like there's one comparable active listing comp that it liked. Because it looks like this listing was a duplicate that we weren't able to match to that other one, but it's in the right place, it looks like. Um, so if you go in here and we go into the map, it looks like, okay, this is actually the building because you see it has that corner there and this is the
yep.
actual, and we were able to match it using our model. And then what you can do is if you go click into the parcel behind it, you can see all the available government information about it. So the zoning, a description of the property. So this is using all the available government information that we had, the cadastral number, all that stuff. So stuff you wouldn't get in the listing is all here. And then if there was a transaction in Crim or Crebe, you'd be able to see it there, but there wasn't in this case. And so what I'll go ahead and do is I'll go back into this listing. Oh, this is interesting. So in 2023, it was listed for 125,000. This has been off the market for a while.
Now, how good is that too, guys? So if you see that in 2023 they were asking 125 and now it's
Yep.
2025 and they've basically done nothing to the property, there's a
Yep.
pretty good chance that if you offered around that 125, maybe even a little bit less, they'd say yes, even though they have this astronomical asking price. That's really just wishful thinking. The market has gone up. There's no doubt about it in the last 2 years, but it hasn't gone up 200%.
Yeah, and this was on the market from 2023 for 530 days at 199 and didn't trade.
Yeah.
Just,
And they lowered
and
the
so
price all the way down to 125, and now they've taken it off the market for a little while and then put it back on the market at a much higher price.
yeah. And so they anyway, so that's just an interesting thing. And then what you can do is then you can, take this again. And then now that we're in the actual right location, let's go ahead and do another evaluation. Let's say we make it C2 and let's say we make it Q3. We'll keep everything else intact. Let's just see what it says. And then while that's running, let me jump back into this and just show you something else. This takes 3 seconds. Go into the map here again. And then Robert, like your case earlier, let's say you just wanted to see all the comps that are around this area and to see what other stuff is just trading for.
Yeah.
We'll go ahead. Actually, we don't even need the polygon. I'll just open up this tab. And so this updates as you move around the map. And so if you go into transactions here, it's showing you every Crim and Crebe transaction and listings as well, that where the broker said it was sold or leased. And so let's just go to sale purchase. And let's just say, has anything traded for over, $200,000 in this area? And then you can see, okay, there's only 7. The last one was in 2024. And then you can actually go see what it was sold as, who the buyer was. And if you click on this, we actually have the deed, and you can go see the details of that transaction.
Can you actually see the property too? I'm sure you can.
Oh yeah. So here I'm in the property. Here's the property profile. I'll just go into the map. So that's where it is. If I go back into the property,
it's right behind this
see,
property, very nearby.
Yep. And then I can see listings that were nearby as well to this property.
Yep.
In the past, and so looks like it was probably this one. I can see I can see all the transactions. So they have a $260,000 mortgage on it with First Bank. I can go see all the deeds and documents, and then they actually have some permits on it. And I can click into this, and then I can go through and see like, okay, it's a residential use permit. The owner is soliciting this, and I can just go see. And what they want to do is they want to let's see, someone who speaks Spanish a bit better could maybe do that one. Something to do with the ground floor. But then if you go into this more information tab here, and we're actually downloading these documents, they're going to be available in our property profile. Um, you can see the project information. So here's the deed in this case, and then you can click into the permit and see more. Actually, no, you can't. For this one,
Henry, as
they
you're
blocked us.
talking, my mind is racing. So I get asked this question every single week, at least, if not every day. If I find a vacant, distressed property somewhere on the island, can I can I just go to the map and click on that property and start pulling up who owns that property, what did they pay for it, and
Yeah.
stuff like that?
So let's say
Just pick one.
you saw this one across the street, and you just want to see what's going on here.
Yep.
You can just click on it, and then it'll tell you what the zoning is, all the information that we have. And then if you go into the unit, if there's an owner, we'll say it. If there's a, transaction, okay, so here's the buyer, Casanova Martino Car.
So
And
that's who
yep,
owns it now.
yep, most
Okay.
likely.
Yep.
But the point is, you can just go through the stuff here, and ideally, there's a permit as well that tends to be the best.
How good is your data on finding that guy who was the Casanova or whatever his name was, his contact information?
So we're working on something for that. Um, that's coming up. But here's another example, real quick. I'll show you how to get that. So in
Yep.
this case, we have the general information. But if you go into the permit here, if you go into the link, you can then scroll through the permit, and then sometimes there'll be contact information. Like for this last one I clicked on here, if you scroll down, you'll be able to find the name and email and phone of the person who applied for the permit. In this case, it's the owner. Um, and so it's spotty. I would say it's about 30% of the time you can go into the permit and get the contact info for the owner. But we're working on another thing that's going to hopefully increase, not related to the permits, but just trying to get more information about how to contact people.
Well, I
And
know that's
then
going to be
last thing,
very
so here,
exciting for people that want to do that business, right? There are so many abandoned
yep,
houses on the island, and the people who own them, they're spread out all over the globe, and finding them is very, very difficult. So when I'm asked where would I
yep,
go first, I always say, hey, go to the neighbor. But now what I'm going to say is go to Red Atlas and see if you can find a contact information for even one heir, right? If you can just find one
yeah,
person to talk to, then you start the conversation and you can see what you can figure out.
yeah.
This is amazing. This is really exciting stuff. For a group like we have, where we're a small cluster of real estate investors who want to do a whole bunch of deals together and want to buy distressed properties. We've never seen anything like this in the almost 8 years that I've been on the island, Henry. In fact, one of the things that attracted me to the island of Puerto Rico was that data was so difficult. And I knew that eventually someone would solve the data problem, and then there will be a whole bunch more people buying up this stuff. But I just love what you've done. You've got it all in one place. And I've used other services that are like Red Atlas, but I don't remember CoreLogic ever giving me as much information as what you just showed us. Does that
Um,
does that make sense? You're familiar
it's a
with
new,
CoreLogic?
it's a new, yeah, yeah, of course. That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me. So thank you. But and actually, just to close the loop on this one, so remember how we ran this one? They were asking 289 now, and then we ran it as a simulation where we turned it into a Q3 and a condition, so quality 3, condition 2.
Yeah.
And it came back with a 42%, increase. And obviously, they were asking 199 last year. So let's say you can get it for 200,000, you're talking about doubling the value of the property. And so this would help you give a sense of like what you might want to be budgeting for any kind of renovations, and what the ROI might be. Um, and
I
then
mean,
it gives you
that's freaking
comparables. Yeah. So here's
amazing.
actual comparables.
Yeah, and that is so powerful and amazing, right? Like, what did we see on this one property? They're asking a price that's too high, obviously. It needs a lot of work. We can glean that just by looking at the pictures.
Mhm.
We know that it was for sale not too long ago for around between 125 and 200. So the likelihood is that even though they're asking 289, they're still probably willing to take 200. And
Mhm.
if you fix it up, say it costs you 100, 125 grand, you can then sell it for 420 or so. That's a
Yep.
that's amazing that and how long did that take us? And we weren't even trying, right, to find a deal. It it
No.
just they're there, they're out there, you guys. So if I'm part of the Apex community, I'm asking McKenna for that code so that I can start using this stuff right away. And also, guys, you want to be using it more than everybody else in the group so that you can be a part of the next beta test because it's going to be really cool.
Well, last thing, let's say you don't know anything about this neighborhood and you're like, okay, I don't know much about Aguadilla. I like this deal, but I don't know much about Aguadilla and I don't know anything about Naranjo, the barrio in this case. What you can do is you can actually go in, in this case, if there's points of interest. So in this case, there's actually no schools, universities, malls, hospitals in this neighborhood. So that's the
Wow.
first thing you should know. And
Yeah.
then if you go to commercial properties, there's 256 commercial properties and 778 residential properties. There are only 11 listings and 20 transactions in this neighborhood in the past year. So
So really
maybe
not much.
that's a red flag, yeah.
Yeah.
Or it could be like you're a there's not many buyers, so you're one of 20.
Yep.
And then, but the permit activity seems to actually be pretty good, where there's 146 permits to 20 transactions. That's actually more than I'm used to seeing. And so it just lets you kind of dive in. And then if you scroll all the way down here, you can actually see, okay, the average transaction price has actually it's been bouncing around, but it's trending in the right direction. What was the transaction volume? Okay, so while there are only 20 transactions, there's actually, the volume is up significantly uh, from pre-COVID, where it's 1.7 million and now it's 2.7 million, even with higher interest rates. And so that can give you so this is actually not typical of what the transaction volume graph in the past few years has been in Puerto Rico. And then you can see, okay, well, how long does stuff sit on days on market? So I only care about multifamily, so I'll get rid of, I'll just do single family and apartments.
Yep.
You can see stuff actually does, you can see, okay, it kind of varies how long it stays on the market. Um, what's the built area distribution? Okay, there's a bunch of stuff over 2.7. Let me see what else we had. You can also see like, okay, so what's on the market? Okay, it's actually a lot of land, so there's not a ton of built stuff here. And then, okay, what's getting permitted? Okay, so use permits, environmental compliance. Okay, so construction permits are only 8%, of all the permits. So that can just give you another sense of like of the permit activity,
Yep.
what's actually happening in this neighborhood.
Yeah, it's an
And then
indication
if
of
you
what's
want to,
being built
yep.
there, what the activity looks like, guys. That all of this is super useful for a group like we have.
And you can do this for any municipality in any neighborhood on the island. So just as a last for fun thing.
That's awesome. Well, okay. I think that should get everybody who's in our group excited that they're going to have access to this for the next few months, and we're going to try and use the heck out of it, Henry, while we've got it, and
Please
hopefully
do.
we'll get some people that can go into the beta with you. And as soon as
Mhm.
you're ready to make an announcement about that, we'll do this again, and we'll have some more fun with it because I'm really excited about the next thing that you guys are doing. It's going to be great.
Super secret. Don't, yeah,
It's top
we'll save
secret,
that one.
guys. We can't say
Top
a
secret.
word. All
Appreciate it.
right. You want to plug Red Atlas? Where can people get a hold of you if they're not a part of the Apex group, which obviously they should be? But
Yep.
how can people get a hold of you, Henry?
So LinkedIn is a great place to find me, just Henry Keenan on LinkedIn. And then our website is atlas.red. So feel free to find us there.
Awesome, man. Thanks so much for sharing that with us and going through that. And look forward to having this conversation again, and hopefully a month or 2 months from now down the road, and we'll be announcing the new beta tests. All
Yeah,
right.
we'll see you soon. Thanks,
All
Robert.
right. Good deal, man. Good to see you, Henry.
Likewise.